recently I've beaten Inscryption. I beat Leshy, I've done everything, and I thought it's about time I did a little tier list for all the cards, for all their abilities. We've got our 5 tiers. S through D, that's gonna have to change. Let's see. Your S's have to be your must picks, right? Something you always need, or you always pick up. A's are actually a good pick. Smile. Your B's are because they are there. C is can do worse and don't. There's our 5 tiers. So let's just start with the top. We've got the Adder. Adder, not very good. The poison is pretty nice, but for 2 cost it's not good. So you'd really want to put it on something. And it's not really good on a lot other than things that attack multiple times, like the Mantis God or just Mantis on its own. So you can do worse. It's not great. Next is the Alpha. I never end up using the Alpha. I think the cost is just really high, so unless you want to put the ability on someone else, it's not great, and the ability, it sounds good on paper, and if you get it working, it's great, but it's hard to do. So it's going because they're there. Amoeba. Gonna be honest, don't pick Amoeba. It's a random sigil for 2 cost can be detrimental. Like, not a lot of the sigils are bad, but not being able to play around it and have it be like cohesive to the deck is not great. You don't really want to put it on a lot either. Like, I guess you could chuck on anything and it could work out sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. Like, you don't want your unit to be able to go underwater if it's your tank. So, yeah, not great. Amalgam has all of the traits. So it's a wolf, deer, insect, it's all of them. Not great. It always takes the effect of your passive, which is nice. I feel like you can do worse. It's not quite because they're there. Like, its base stats are pretty good. But it's just... Actually, it is, because I've just looked, and I would... For a legendary, it's not very good. For a rare, no. But its stats are because they're there, yeah. Actually, this is going to be because you can, I guess. That's a better tier name. Your ants. Okay, I don't know what the consensus is on ants. I think ants are really good, but they can't really... Actually, no. The ant subclass is something you have to go hard into. But if you get it, let me find wasp as well. Or winged ant. There it is. Flying ant. It's a subclass that if you go into, you're going to have a good deck. Just once you get it up and running. But you need to get the queen and a worker, probably, to get it actually working. Or get the totem. Or the ant spawner. Once you get it, though, having a 4-2 in every lane is amazing. Next, we have Bat. That's a tough one. Alright, I was talking about the Bat. Yeah. The Bat is 4 cost, 4 bones, 2 attack, 1 defense, flyer. It's not gonna be bad, it's just not gonna do anything that anything else can do. Like, if you want a flyer, you could take Raven. It costs one more, but it's just easier to get in the field if you're not running a bone deck. Or, really, we'll get to Magpie later, but Magpie is a very nice fly card. Not exactly for fly, but we'll get to that. Beaver. Beaver's pretty good. If you get Beaver with Alpha, that is very nice. Or other way around, they kind of like to be together. Or there are other cards like the Bodyguard that can be good, so they're always, as summons, always move to the enemies. But it takes up 3 slots, or 2, just for a defense, so it's a good stall, but you kind of want either a combo piece or a finisher in Inscryption. You want something that's gonna wipe something out like Mantis God's Tri-Attack, or something that's gonna allow your pieces to keep coming back, like the Cat's Undying, or the respawn of Ouroboros, stuff like that. Stuff that just allows you to finish it as quickly as possible. You don't really want to stall your opponent because then they get stronger. Beehive is a combo piece that is very good. Putting it on your tank just allows you to get a lot of free bees, which is a 1/1 flyer that's free. So it is very nice to have. If you get it on a different unit, such as Snapper or the Bullfrog, or just something with like something that you're going to make your tank, it is so nice. It really allows you to play units that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. But it's not necessary because there is other things that do its job slightly better or a lot easier, but it won't be a must pick. This is a Kraken. It's a 2-cost bell power with 3 health, so it has power equal to how many spaces it is towards the bell on your left hand side. So if it's on the far left, it's got 4, far right, it's got 1 attack. It is not great. 4/3. It's not amazing because it has to be on the left. If you need a blocker on the right, someone who could stop that attack, it's not great. So it's very situational. But if you have it and you maybe put like the apple trait on it, it could be pretty cool, I guess. But, well. Okay, Black Goat. It's not your finisher, but you're never sad about seeing a Black Goat. Because it has the ability where if it's sacrificed, it counts as 3. So instead of having to sacrifice 3 squirrels, you could sacrifice it and you get a grizzly. Something like that. Very nice to have. Because there's a lot of good sigils that combo with it very nicely. Some being the Magpie, which is also going to be a must pick. Magpie's a searcher and a flyer. It is able to search your deck for any card once you play it down. So using that with Black Goat, you get a really nice combo where you summon Black Goat. If it has the search, it searches out your Grizzly or basically your one-shot, your Mantis God or whatever card has your Mantis God ability, and you wipe them. It's very nice. That should always be something you go for. Another must pick is Cockroach. The revive sigil is very nice to have on any unit. You always want units back in your hand so that you've always got something to do. Putting that on something like Gek or just any cheap unit is very nice. Because then you could just constantly keep sending it out. Or something like Warren, you could constantly keep getting back the rabbits. That's very nice. Actually, probably, yeah, if you put it on, because then it gives the rabbits the sigil as well. The Undying, so they'll come back to your hand once you use them, so you basically got infinite cost. Very nice. Bloodhound. 2/3 moves to the space the opponent placed in a unit. Not great, because you don't really want your opponent deciding where your unit goes, but it's fine, I guess. Bullfrog, cheap shielder, you don't can do worse. You don't really want it, but it's not detrimental. You'll find a use for it. It could block an attack from a bird and then hit them back. It beats out the sparrow if you play it in front of the sparrow, which is nice early game, but you don't care. You'll have other answers to the sparrow. Another Kraken, but this one's for the cards. How many cards you've got in your hand, 1 cost. This one is definitely better than the other one, because you can definitely build a deck around just getting an insane amount of cards, because that's kind of your win condition for a lot of decks. It's just filling your hand up with as much as possible and brute forcing it. So it's very easy to get that to be a very strong card. Cat is a good pick. Being able to just act as another form of a cost multiple times, you can get a lot of 1/1s out of it. Or such as the flying ant, worker ant, you could use the cat as the sacrifice, get them out. Mole, there's a lot of 1 costs that are very nice, that a cat can just enable very well. Grizzly, I think, is one of the better 3 costs. It's just a big tank that's going to do a lot of damage. It's just a really straightforward card that you can't really get wrong. I don't want to say it's a must pick, because it's very much not. There's no must pick finisher. A lot of cards in the game can be your finisher. I might actually skip to one. One that I think is a great combo piece and can be, well, it's not really a finisher, but Skink is amazing, because it allows you to, when it gets attacked, it summons another unit in its place, which will then also proc its ability. So that allows you to have a lot of pretty nasty combos, such as if you've got, say, Ouroboros' Undying on it, where it revives. So then you get back a free blocker, which you could do whatever you want with. Pretty handy. You could have the Pack Rat Sigil, where you get an item. You get 2 items just for placing down a 1-cost unit. That's pretty nice. You'll definitely take that. You could have the Rat King's Bones, so that you get 8 bones when both of them are sacrificed. It's good. Warren, 2 rabbits. A lot of abilities are balanced around only being able to use them once, and being able to pop it twice back to back is very handy. What else? The Direwolf, you get a lot of bones quick, but it's probably not as good as the Rat King, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, very good card. Combos with a lot of nice things. Child 13. It's a better cat. Yeah. Does the same thing as a cat, but it does damage every other turn. Or whenever you... Basically, Child 13, once you sacrifice with it, it goes into attack mode, and I think it's a 3/3 flyer. But then once you sacrifice it again, it goes back to dormant. So, yeah, it's good. Out of the legendaries, though, if I have to compare all of them together, I don't know if I'd still put it in a must pick. But I think you do want to take. Actually, I'm going to put it at the top of good picks, because you're never sad about it. But if there's another option, you might take it. And that's where is he? Mantis God. You always pick a Mantis God. It's always good. Attack it in 3 lanes. You can put that on any unit that has 2 attack, and it will one-shot the boss if they don't have a blocker. Was 2, 2, 2 equals 6. You only need 6 damage, even with the challenges on. Very good card, very good ability. Even if you want it to be your attacker, it is still very nice. Still being able to just do 3 damage for 1 cost. Is weak to Porcupine stages. I got destroyed by that when I did the Mantis God starting deck, and I got run over because it was my only attacking card, and my worms couldn't do anything. So, very good card. A bit fragile at first, but if you get that on something strong, you're unstoppable. That's actually the deck. I used a Mantis God plus Grizzly, and that's how I beat the final 120 challenge. That was a pain. Curse Maggots. Very nice ability. Whenever your unit dies, the card bearing the sigil will teleport to that space. So if that is a high cost card, it basically functions as a free summon. Very nice. You put that on any high cost. This one, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's your big yay. It likes it a lot. Because getting a 7 cost out for free is pretty nice. But it's already been blocked, so you can't get an instant win from it. But you make do. You take a free 7 cost. Or a 7 damage. Coyote, very basic, 4 bones, 2/1. It's just a bat without fly, so it should probably just go in the same spot, maybe a bit lower. This is your... I'm not sure, I'm just going to call it Baby Bird. It places down an eggshell in front of it, which allows it to set up, or allows other units to set up. It's niche, but you can do worse. But I think it's better than can do worse, because I'd take this over any of them. Basically, let's see. You could have it on something like Strange Larva so that it can set up, or when you see they're about to place a unit down, you can put it in front and it stops it from being able to be placed. Very handy. Not necessary, but it can shut down. Actually, I'm starting to reconsider it now. It might be a good pick. Being able to fully shut down a lane is very handy, because if you had 4, theoretically they just wouldn't be able to play cards. But I think it's because you can. It's nothing fancy, and I guess everything can be broken in a sense, so you can't really use it against it. The little rat, I forget what the bells do. I'm going to come back to that later. Let's put that at the bottom. Direwolf, 2/5, attacks twice. It's a 3 cost, so essentially functions as a bear that attacks twice instead, because it does 4 damage in total, 4 damage in total, but it attacks twice. I feel like it is just it's a slightly weaker bear, but you want that double strike sigil on something else. Because the sigil itself is very good. You could put that on a cheap unit and then have a very easy to achieve win condition. Or you could put it on something like a grizzly and have it be, once it's on the field, it wins. Being able to hit for 4, which will kill 90% of units, and then hit for 4 again, pretty much putting you in the safe zone where next turn you're good. Dire Wolf Pop is your easier way to summon the Dire Wolf. It's slightly better. It basically gives you a bone and then evolves into Dire Wolf. Very handy. The ability is better used on bone decks if you can sacrifice it and put it onto something else that's going to last a long time. You could put it on your underwater card. Just have it stay there forever, and it will get a slight upgrade as well, so it could even work with River Otter. Never thought that. Yeah, it's a good card. You're not sad about it. And it could be your win condition if you need one. Elf Fawn. 1/1 evolves into Elk after the turn. You're not really upset about that. If you have to take it, you have to take it. But you're not... You're not... I'm going to put this one at the very top, can do worse, and then the Fawn slightly lower. Because spending 1 for a 2/4 isn't bad, but moving is not really great in this game. You don't really want your cards to move. Actually, these are going to be the top of can do worse. You can definitely do worse than them, but not a lot. Field Mice. This is at the top of good picks. It basically does the same thing as Skink, but slightly worse, because it sends the card back to your hand, minus this sigil. It used to keep the sigil, but they nerfed it. Well, before, it would have been at the top of must picks. The sigil was broken. But now, it basically just gives you your card back without the field of mice, so it will keep B if it has the B, it will keep whatever. Pretty handy, especially on cheap units again. A lot of sigils are good on cheap units. That's one of them. Being able to get two... Gek is always the free example. You always take a Gek if you got it. It just gives you 2 Geks, basically, for placing one down. We're going to go for Yeti now. Yeti, you take it if it's the only thing there. You're not a big fan of Yeti because it's so hard to get in the field. If you can get it on the field, that's a different story. If you've got a black goat with magpie, or if you've got skink, you've got a lot of cheap stuff, you've got Warren, you could take Yeti, but it's a tough creature to get out in the field because you'd need all units, all slots taken up, all 4 blood slots. Very tough. Shark. I've won with Shark. Shark was fun. It's a good pick. Probably worst of the good picks because it's not tanky, but it's not gonna die. It's gonna sit there. Sorry about that. Back to the tier list. Let's see. What were we on? Shark. Yeah, it's not tanky. You really want a tanky card because then it can also function as your block. It's yeah, you want you want it to function as a blocker too, man. It's always going to be good. You're never going to turn down the shark. It's 4 attack, but it's just going to sit there for ages and constantly keep hitting things. That's why it's so good with Mantis. But you kind of want it to take it. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, this is your clone. It pretends to be any unit in your deck, and then when you place it, it turns into a 4/1. It's not done. It's at the very bottom of can't do worse. You don't want it because it can mess up your game plan. If you've got something you really want to go for, it can mess you up. But it's also a 4/1, which isn't a bad stat. So it's a tough one. Actually, let's to the top of can do worse. I don't like it just because it feels risky. But I feel like it is. You definitely take it over any legend apart from Amoeba. But you always get 3 legend choices anyway, so you ain't picking that one. Pelt Lice is something I haven't used in a run, but you can make a pelt deck, which I've heard is pretty good, or well, from theory anyway. It basically is a 4-cost 1/1. Sounds horrible, but if you play a pelt, it jumps from the pelt, or it jumps from here onto the place of the pelt. Which means if you buff it up, it could actually be pretty damn good. If you've got a bunch of pelts, it could infest all of them. So, that's not bad. It could very much be your win condition. It could function very much like ants. Which actually, I'm going to put it above ants. The tier lists aren't ordered by any chance, but it's just, if it's the top half, it's probably slightly better than the bottom half. Let's see, Kingfisher. I think it's pretty bad. It doesn't block, it barely attacks, and it costs blood. I don't know, I think it couldn't be free, but it's very much it's not good. I don't know why you would want it. Mantis, good pick. Basically just a slightly worse Mantis god. You're never sad about it. Because at the end of the day, it's always going to hit once. It's just, well, it hit twice sometimes. Yeah. Its attack is worth half however many bones you've got, and it's 3 cost. 3 blood. It's a flyer as well. If you've got a very good bone deck, it can be good. This is a topic can do worse. It's how do I word it? If you've got all the pieces to make it work, it definitely can, and it could definitely function as your cleaner. But that is a lot harder to do because bones are hard to come by. You need to either have a Rat King or you need to have the Dire Wolf Pup, and even the Dire Wolf Pup alone will not be enough to sufficiently give you bones. Raccoon as well. You need multiple of these cards. Probably something like a Rat King Warren. Like something that powerful where you're just constantly getting bones back. To even give you just enough power to make the card worth it. Well, how many would you need? You need 10 bones stockpiled for this to do 5 damage and then 1 shot. It's so much effort. Yeah, that's fine. I think it could be there. Mealworm. I really like Mealworm. I don't think it is a good pick, but I'm gonna put it there because I like him. Basically, you can use him as a sacrifice cost, and the unit that you place will gain his base stats. So he'll gain his attack and health. If you give him a couple attack buffs at a campfire, he can be really nice. Or you could do something like putting his sigil on something else. Like, if you've got a surprisingly large surplus of bones, you could put him on Cockroach and sacrifice the Cockroach to summon things in, and then that gives them a 1/1. You could power up Cockroach, and then you maybe got a 3/1 that's buffing up your Praying Mantis, your Grizzlies. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't think it's a must pick. You never always want a Mealworm. There's definitely better choices, like your very good combo pieces, but I like it. A Kraken that mirrors the attack of the opponent. I don't know. It's such a situational one. This one's more situational than this one, but I feel like the reward is better because it can kill the squishy units, high damage squishy units. Very good against that. I think that's where it could be because you can get it. It's going to do its job. It's going to be good. You're not going to be pissed about it. If they put down a Grizzly or something, you've got a 1 cost 4 damage unit. That's nice, but it's not killing the Grizzly. If they put down a Shark, you're hitting their face for 4 and blocking their hit. That's also good. Mole Man. Nobody's ever pissed off about a Mole Man. Mole Man's good. Locked units. What else? You can put a lot of good sigils on it. You can put Porcupines and damage reflection. You can put... what else? Put power up. You can put block. Block is... You can put the revival so you can constantly keep getting it back. You can put Stinky on it. Stinky's very nice. Stinky's probably the better one actually. Let's put that one. You can do worse. It's not great, but it's not bad. Let's go to Baby Mole. Baby Mole up next to him. Just same thing. If given an upgrade sigil, it turns into a Mole Man, which is pretty cool. Moosebuck. Moosebuck is Worse Bear. So, because you can. If you got it, you use it. I'd take a Grizzly. Mud Turtle. It's a 2 cost, 2/2 with a block. It'll take any hit, no matter how high it is. I feel like it's not useful. I feel like that is being generous. I want to use it. It feels good on principle. but I just don't know what unit to use it on, really. Like, would I put it on Adder because it's a 1-1 and then it gives a guaranteed 2 poisons? Probably not, because why would I do that when I could just put Adder's effect on someone else? Because you usually nullify the weakness of a card by putting it on another card. So why would I just not put the good sigil on a good unit, or put? I don't get it. It feels weird. It's too high of a cost for it to be its own thing. I don't know. That one is it's a mystery to me. Like, look, it's the same cost as Packrat with the same stats, but this one gives me a guaranteed item, and that one just takes a hit. It's like, I guess if there's no, because if the unit's across from it, that's got 4 defense, 4 health. This can beat it in a 1v1, but you've got to spend 2 for it. That's a lot. We're going to put Packrat on. Packrat's slightly higher. The ability is very nice. You could start cycling resources every turn. You could definitely use an item. That's always nice to know. That's also good for the boss fights where, spoilers, there's an elite boss or an elite challenge where all of the first 3 bosses get full board of bears for their second phase, which can be very tough unless you get Packrat and start cycling for items and you try to look for scissors or you look for hourglasses to stop their turn. It's basically necessary unless you get a good deck like I had. I had Grizzly with Mantis God to attack all 3 lanes, and then I also had the hourglass from the Packrat to stop their turn so I could wipe out 3 bears at once. That saved me that run. So I would have put Packrat lower before, but honestly, I think it is very nice to have now that I start using items more. Opossum, 2 bone, 1-1. It's just a cheap 1-1. You're not mad about it. You could do worse. If you want an ability, you could put Alpha's ability on it. So you just have to spend 3 less bones. That's not bad. Ouroboros. 1-1, when it dies, it gets stronger. If you're able to cycle it multiple times, make an infinite loop, this is a guaranteed must pick for that sort of deck. But otherwise, it's just a good pick. You want to grab it, its sigil's always going to be useful. Kind of like the cockroach. I would say cockroach is better, because I feel like 2 bones, you can't really make an infinite combo with like that cost. But with 4 bones, if you're able to get the combo going, it's very nice. Like, you could put Rat King on the cockroach. I didn't mention this before. If you're able to get 4 bones, then you're able to make an infinite combo with Rat King and the cockroach. So yeah, I think Ouroboros is slightly worse than cockroach. Unless you get it to like a 1,000 attack and health, then you can make an argument. Porcupine, top off, can do worse. It sends an attack back. Good against Mantis, good against Mantis God. That's about it. Doesn't really do a lot. I can't read what that one's called. It's a deer. It hits the left and right lanes. Costs 2. You don't. Oh, I'm getting shouted. Bam. Alright. Yeah. Just asked for some food. I was talking about this one. 2 cost, 1-3, it's 2 lanes. Yeah, who cares? It costs too much. Its ability is nice though, you could put that on, but having it move while having a 2 attack, you don't really want that, then it will go into the corner. So, I'm never picking up this card. So it's going to the bottom. Raccoon, you've got a bone deck, you take it, if you don't, you don't. It's as simple as that. Rat King. Good pick. Pretty much necessary if you've got bone cards. It basically allows you to take bone cards. You put that on anything in the top tier, and you've got a good card. A very godlike card. Put it on a lot of the things in a good pack, and you've got a god card. Put it on Ant Queen. Then you sacrifice Ant Queen to put down the Ant, and then you get 4 bones. Sacrifice the Ant to put down another unit, you get 8 bones. And then you can play whatever card you want. Very good card. Is that like a weird finisher for 6 bones, I guess? I don't pick it up, but I'm sure you could. Raven Egg. I think Raven Egg is pretty cool. I don't use it, but I could. I could pick it up and definitely make something out of it. It turns into a 2/3. Turns into this card. I think Raven is significantly worse. I'm not spending 2 for a Raven. But I wouldn't mind a Raven Egg. This card does damage. It costs 2, and its damage is based on how many sacrifices you did that turn. You're not going to get a lot of sacrifices every turn. But if you're able to get a huge hit off, such as summoning something big and then summoning this, it could be your finisher. I've never used it, because I always think it's very situational. But yeah, I could make an argument for it. Worm, you're never taking a worm. Just go on and don't. Probably the bomb. It does have 1 use, and it's better than nothing. You could use it at a campfire if you double use it at a campfire, and the campfires eat it. Campfires die, and then you get the guaranteed double upgrade every other campfire. Bad side of that is you have to use your campfire slot on it, and if the campfires do not eat the ringworm, they're good. And now you've just got either a super bulky ringworm or a 2/1 cost, which sure, it just feels bad when it happens. You'd rather it get eaten. River Otter, it's not great. You don't really want it. If you've got a specific game plan for going underwater, like you've got your bone, it's alright. You don't want it. River Snapper, kind of the same. You don't want a tank for the most part, unless you're wanting to get like a bunch of beehive sort of thing, or you've got a skunk on it and you really want it to be tanky. Yeah, you just take something else. Sparrow. I don't know why you would want a 1/2 flyer. It doesn't finish anything. It doesn't combo. It doesn't enable you to do anything that anything else does. Still, 1/2 free, or 1/2 with no ability. Why? Strange Larva. Each turn it evolves, and after a couple turns, it turns into a 7/3 Mothman. Mothman's good. It takes a long time to set up though, so once you get it, it's good, but it's hard to get there. If you need something now, it doesn't do the job. Tadpole, free unit. If it's free, it's gotta go good pick. It evolves into the toad after a turn, and it also goes underwater, so it can't really block. It can't give you a free turn. Is that a good? It's a good pick. You're not upset about Tadpole, but you don't really want it. But it just allows you to do a lot of things. Vulture, 8 bone, 3/3. I don't use it. You could use it as a finisher. It's not a bad one. 3 cost finisher that flies, which you could put a mantis on. That's a game winner. 8 bones is a high cost unless you've got a really good bone setup. So if you got it, you got it. That should honestly be another tier, but it's a bit late now. If you've got it, you can make it work. Warren. Warren's a good pick. You can put Warren on a lot of things to make them really good. It basically just gives you Bunny whenever placed. Bunny is a 0/1 free unit. Very handy, because it basically refunds its own cost. Well, as a Warren, and then once you put abilities on it, it becomes very nice. Wild Bull does the same thing as Moosebuck. It pushes an enemy, but this one flings the enemy over to the other side instead of just bouncing back. Pretty good. You're not... I would say it is worse than the Moosebuck, but it's also cheaper. I've just not used Wild Bull enough, so I can't really place it fairly. Wolf Cub 1/1 evolves into a wolf at the end of the turn, or at the end of the start of the next turn. Should I say? I like Wolf Cub. It's slow, but it gets the job done, and I like Wolf too. He's also gonna go there. I would put Wolf in a good pick because I like it as a finisher. But then I looked at good picks, and there's just some stuff that is just a direct upgrade. So I thought, because you can. If you get two of them. I also made a fusion of two wolves, which was 6-4, which was so cool at the start. Wolverine is a 1/3 that when it kills a unit, it gets an extra attack. The ability, honestly, it sounds good. It's situational. You could put it on something like the Mantis God, and then if it hits 3 lanes and kills all 3, it gets +3 attack, which is very rare, and it's not going to happen a lot. But it could happen, so it could be worse. You're just not going to get that every game or any game. Random. Don't take it. It's random. I know this makes chimes. I don't know what the chimes do. I remember using it, and I remember it working similar to Beaver. So I'm just gonna say it's good. Give it a try. And that's about it. I'm gonna make it pink. There's the tier list. Basically, if you find these, grab them. They're not going to make your deck worse. You're always going to find a use for them. Be it using their sigils on something else, or just combining the sigils with each other, because they combo with everything. Very good. You're good picks. You're not always going to need them in your deck, but they're not going to hurt as much as anything else. These you take for the deck. You already have your deck outline. This is what you're going to add to it. Can do worse. This is your niche things. You don't have much other options. You're going to pick these if you need to. Basically, if you get 3 of these choices, you're going to have to pick one of them. Yeah, you're kind of... You don't like it. You're going to try to get rid of it somehow. You're not going to get given these 3 options all at once. Just don't pick them. Unless you want to do something crazy with random. Honestly. Yeah. Take random over ringworm. Alright. That's the... Oh, that's really nice looking. That's the end of the tier list then. See yous.